So we are discussing passing on the baton. I know I'm talking to some young people who need to receive the baton. I'm talking to older people who are supposed to pass it. But I want to say right at the beginning that for a better community, this passing of the baton can be either way. Not too long ago, and I've given this example before, somebody who used to be a student at Chiromo campus and was one of my mentees told me, Brother Naga, you should be still talking to us. I said, I'm still talking the campus, but you people graduated. Says, no, there's a way you can talk to us even after we have graduated. I says, which one? Said, you open a website and every time you give a talk in the campus, place it there, and we who graduated earlier will still be listening. I just retired. I said, what the issue of website? That's more than 10 years ago. I feel that's not my age. So I kind of refused. The next time they met me, they said, Brother Nganga, there's nothing you will do. It's me to design the website, to get it working, and I will show you what to do. All you do is, whatever talk you give in campus, download it, upload it. I think that's what they use. Upload it, and I'll show you how to upload it. And we all can follow. I said, how? I'll make the website send automatically to anybody who has subscribed that message. I still didn't quite get convinced. So that time, I was in Mombasa, and the person was in Mombasa, and they said, there isn't much you have to do. And I said, okay, let's try. What do I do? So they gave me a set of questions, which I answered. They worked the website, got it ready, and came to Nairobi to teach me how to upload. I have no idea exactly how it works, but all I know is I uploaded, and the few of her friends who had subscribed received the message. We added more. Now, now I'm very embarrassed about that story, because today there are more than 3,000 people all over the world who receive I call them meditations, John N. and Nganga meditations. They receive it every week. And 3,000 is not a small church. And here I was refusing until I was mentored by somebody half my age. I was around 60 and the person is around 30, so it's literally half my age. And now we are ministering to people all over the world because of that work of mentoring. So let's not sit here thinking that mentoring is old people mentoring young ones. If you truly want to operate at a higher level, all of us need to have mentors. All of us, whatever your age, you need to have mentors, because it will help you to be a better person, to realize your potential, because somebody has gone that way before. And now, the next time I was told about YouTube, I said, you what? But now I had learned my lesson. So I said, just tell me what to do. And so the young people opened a YouTube account for me, John N. Nganga. Now it has more than 40,000 people have already been to my YouTube account, looking at one audio or video or another. All that because a young person was willing to mentor me and help me to be on YouTube. I can talk about the whole issue about WhatsApp. When I saw my children who are all adults, every time, Kiki, I say, I would never want to be on WhatsApp. It's too involving. They ganged up together and bought me a tablet with a line and put WhatsApp there. And they told me, you continue with your line, but every time we want to send you a picture or send you something, we'll be sending on this particular line. When I now started seeing the tablet, I realized it can do more. I realized instead of the way I used to carry, Jacob knows that I used to carry my computer because I started wanting to use the computer. So I would prepare my sermon on the computer and come to Valley Road or go to another church carrying my computer with a big bag. With a tablet, which can fit in my coat pocket, I now prepare in my computer, pass it on to my tablet, and in my pocket, it has the Bible, it has everything. All I need is a walk. When I walk to a campus and they want to carry my Bible, I say I have nothing. I'm just the way I am myself. I had to go back to my children and tell them, I know I told you thank you for the gift, but I did not know how useful it is. Because I'm now able to have all my talks within the tablet and I can use it wherever. So I have it and I'm able to send it before. So I never carry materials. I don't carry papers or Bibles or anything. And it has made my work much, much easier. Again, because I'm being mentored by Anna. Now, if you refuse to be mentored, I'm now talking to my age mates. I was born 1952, so I'll be 70 next year. If you refuse to be mentored by young people, my friend, you die dead. In other words, you are alive, but of no use. Yet God has something He can do to use you. Because you don't want to be mentored by young people, you are going to be the loser. So I think it's important to understand, especially as our children go past the age of 20. They are adults right like you. And you need to talk to them not as a child and a father, but two brothers. Maybe, okay, he is still your son, but you need to understand you give him the freedom to give comments about many things that he knows, and you, despite your age, you actually don't know. That is our subject today, passing on the baton. But I wanted in the introduction to reorganize it, to say passing on the baton is not from old to young. It's from the one with the competence to the one without. It's from the one who knows and has experience to the one who doesn't. Whatever the age is it's a very secondary issue. And I think that will be something that will be important. If you understand it that way, you'll understand that this passing of the baton is a very athletic or sports oriented type of picture. Christian athletes must take good care before they fall out of the course, that their torches, still burning, be handed over to the athletes who take their place. I'm talking about the way the Olympic torch moves from Greece all the way to, like now it will be going to, later in the year, it will be going to Japan. And they keep passing it on. So passing the baton means you are very careful. The person passing the baton has to be very careful. The person receiving it has to be very careful. Otherwise, it can cause a major accident, especially if it's a burning torch. And this is another fact. We are not the first people to do that. Moses had to pass the baton to Joshua. David had to pass it on to Solomon. Elijah had to pass it on to Elisha. Jesus, of course, passed it to 12, not one person, to a group of 12. Paul passed it on to Timothy. So this thing is a biblical thing. The idea of what you know to pass on. And if you want a text, please go to Deuteronomy chapter 6, where the parents are told to pick the values, the biblical values that God has taught them. And the parents were told to pass those values to their children. And they are told, how do you do it? When you are standing up, when you are sitting down. But it is the responsibility of a parent to ensure the values they have are the values that the children receive. And I think that will be very important. But I told you clearly, this passing on the baton, mentoring, is all an issue of improving the community productivity. If you are going to improve community productivity, we need to encourage every individual to have a minimum of 3 friends. Minimum of 3 types of friends. Type number 1, however old you are, you must have a mentee. However young you are, you must have a mentee. Some of the people may be listening to me at 20 years. But your brothers who are teenagers in high school and you are in the university, you need to allocate time in your schedule where you know there is somebody who doesn't know as much as you, and you are investing in them. Those kind of people we call, all of them are friends, because mentoring is a friendship issue. But you can have a friend where when you meet, he drains you, because basically he's asking questions, you are giving information, you get very little out of that friendship. But don't pull out. That's why some of the things being talked by motivational speakers are chaotic, totally unbiblical. They are telling people, please do not move with people who are not gifted. So if you don't work with people who are gifted, and only gifted people walk alone, the community will be the loser. Because although the few gifted people are going to do something wonderful, the ones who don't have the same gift will be forgotten. So the output will not be good. And that is really the wrong thing. We want the whole community to do better. The best will still be at a class of their own, but because they are mentoring the less gifted, even the less gifted will have a higher productivity. So the whole community will do well. And that's why we are encouraging everybody to have a friend whom they are helping. My friend, do you have somebody who is not born again, whom you are trying to win to the Lord? And that's what you call friendship evangelism. My friend, do you have somebody who has not reached university and you can help them when they are in high school? My friend, do you have somebody who is not yet married and you want to invest in him so that the marriage process does not get him into trouble? You know, people say that the marriage time is a graveyard of many born-again people. They are active as young people, serving the Lord. Around the time of getting married, the girl is pregnant, something goes wrong. But they require mentoring by people who are already married to tell them, please understand there are risks. Like, for example, they need to know that you can be wholly able to relate with the girls, but the moment one girl becomes your girlfriend and you are planning to get married, the chemistry changes, the biology changes, and so you end up being sexually active, not because you intended, but because of the biological clock. So if somebody doesn't tell you that earlier, who has gone through it, you think, I can stand it. I can't do that. I'm not Christian. I will not fall into temptation. So that's why I'm encouraging everybody, whatever your age, in whichever area, to look for somebody where you have passed, they have not yet passed, and assist them. You can see what will happen in the whole church, in the whole community. But you also need a mentor. You see, a mentee, we have said the reason why you need a mentee is because you are reproducing yourself. But the second thing why you need a mentee is because a mentee challenges you to have higher standards. How can you be telling your mentee not to quarrel his wife when you have just quarreled yours? You have been married that a year, they have only been married 5, but you are quarreling yours. The moment you are mentoring a young couple, it pushes you to keep high standards. And that's the benefit of being a mentor. Your standards can never drop because you feel embarrassed about it. Similarly, you as a mentor needs to become a mentee. You need to look for a mentor. Why do you need a mentor? Even somebody of my age, why do you need a mentor? Because the mentor has gone through that way on that particular issue. I've just told you how I use young people as my mentors on technology. Because the mentor has gone through that way, 3 things become a benefit when you choose a mentor, whatever your age. It means that he is going to open up your horizon. You are able, he is making, like you have this kind of goal, he makes it bigger. He tells you they are even better. Have you heard about this? Have you heard about this? And your goal becomes much higher than you had before you talk with the mentor. Number 2, he also speeds up your progress because the barriers he went over, he tells you about them. So you are able to go faster than he went when you have a mentor. So do you really want to improve your productivity before God calls you home? Have mentors, even if you are 60. Have somebody who is a mentor at 65, whatever. People who have gone through what you are going through, and it will help you. But thirdly, when you have a mentor, not only do you, as your speed increased, not only is your goal getting higher, number 3, you have somebody you can share your failures with. Because you see, they have gone through it. So you are able to share. You cannot share your failures with a mentee because you will crush him. He will lose trust and end up completely destroyed. But with a mentor, you are open up. And because you open up, you don't suffer in silence. You can be helped. The quality of life becomes higher when you have a mentor. I hope, young people, you are listening to me. You do not go for mentors for their sake. You don't go to your father as a mentor for his sake. You need him. The third type of a friend you require is called a colleague friend. They normally call it peer counseling, peer friendship, where it is somebody like you, but he is your mentor. You are also his mentor. So it's mentor. So why? Because when you have something complicated and you're embarrassed about it, you are likely to tell your mentor a lot of details because you think he might think you are too naive. You can't tell it to your mentee either. Who do you tell? Someone like you. That this person is very important because, for example, if he knocks at your door and you are quarreling your wife, you don't change. You continue the quarrel and finish it because you know even himself he quarrels his wife. In the process, he is able to know you thoroughly. Unlike the mentor and mentee, the colleague friend is able to help you because he knows you. He knows your weaknesses. He knows your strength better than the other two. That's why you need the three types of friends. And I wish I had the time a lot of time to deal with it. But I hope you can see then, although our discussion is about passing the buck, we are now talking about the methodology of passing this buck. You know, you as a mentee, and I've told you, you are the same person who is a mentee, you are the same one who is a mentor, you are the same one who is a colleague. But you as a mentee, prayerfully look for three things in a person who can mentor you. Prayerfully look for three things in choosing the person you can mentor also. And they are called the 3 C's. The 3 C's is character, competence, and chemistry. The first one is competence. Competence means you can see this person is gifted. If only I worked on him, he can become better. If you are a mentor. If you're a mentee, you can see this mentor on the area I want him to help me. He is far much better than me. He is competent. So I respect his professionalism. I respect his marriage. I respect whatever it is you want to be mentored on. And the critical thing is competence. You can't go to be mentored on marriage by somebody whose marriage is on the rocks. He must have a good marriage for him to mentor you in that area. Number 2, the second C is character. Again, as a mentee, you want to look for in a mentor character. What is character? Somebody who practices values. He doesn't just talk about values. He practices them. He doesn't just teach about values. He practices them. That's how you trust him. Character refers to the honesty of the person, the living a life that is equal to what he says. He has integrity. Like I've written a book called Integrity, the Litmus Test of Good Leadership. Now, you do not, as a mentee, please don't go to somebody whose character is questionable. You know, the trouble of going to a mentor whose character is troublesome, especially his competence being good, you go to him, but his character is wrong. You will soon start saying, I think what he's doing is bad. Like he's very competent on the area he's helping you, but he's running after girls. And sometimes you start saying, I can understand him. His wife is not a very good woman. No wonder he's looking for girls. What are you doing? You are slowly becoming like him. Nobody ends up doing wrong before they start accepting it on others. Whenever you hear, I cannot do it myself, but I understand him. The moment you understand sin or understand wrong things, it is one stage towards you also doing it. So you need to be careful if you are talking about character. Who are you going to? Another time I was asked to talk in a Golden Age fellowship, and they wanted me to talk to them about mentors and about the work being available to help younger people. And I said, church needs to be very careful. Some of the old people don't have the values that you'd want young people to get. So if you ask the golden age to mentor young people, and they themselves are Christian traditionalists, they are the same ones who will be asking young people, have you paid dowry? When are you paying dowry? You know your marriage cannot be blessed because you never paid dowry. That's not in the Bible, but that's what the old man believes. And he is passing on to younger people. So you need to understand it's not enough that you are older. It's not enough that you are competent. Do you have the character that you need to pass to the younger person? Similarly, it's very difficult to mentor someone whose character he does not want to change. That's why before you mentor anybody in anything, you mentor them first on their character. Help them to meet the Lord. Let them be Christians, whoever they are. The first area of mentoring anybody is for them to know God and put their trust in Him. So their character is sorted out. But thirdly and importantly, even if the competence is okay and the character is okay, the chemistry. What is chemistry? Ability to relate well. You know, you can have a mentor whose character is okay, his competence is okay, but the two of you don't seem to go well. You don't respect him. You don't feel like you understand him. So you waste each other's time because the chemistry is not quite right. And it's important, whether it's a mentor or a mentee, chemistry matters. Because if somebody does not respect you, it will be very difficult for him to take your word. If somebody does not care about you, it is unlikely that he is going to influence you well. There needs to be a friendship. And that's why I'm telling you the whole process. If you want to pass on the back of the baton, not the back, but the baton, it will be important that friendship is the one used in this process. Because if there is friendship, you will take care of the person you are trying to pass the back to. You'll be interested in him. You will push. You will be patient. If you have friendship, you are going to respect the person. You listen to what he is saying. You will test it. You will consider it. This is a very, very important point. Let's go to the scriptures and see the verse for this generational passing on the baton. It's called Timothy 2:2. And it says, and the things you have heard me say, and you could also say, the things you think are very good. That's the first generation. In the presence of many witnesses, that's the second generation. And trust reliable people, that the generation, who will also be qualified to teach others, fourth generation. So that in 2 Timothy 2:2, Paul is teaching us about generational passing, so that what this generation has is able to reach the fourth generation. And you know, the fourth generation, for these people that are dying at 100, they are already going towards the fifth generation. Because if you got married in your 20s, and your son got married in his 20s, and his grandson got married in your 20s, at the age of 60, 70, you already have the fourth generation, and you actually will go to the fifth generation. And you are saying, when you are still alive, you can ensure that the matter passes on. You know, who shall be able to teach others also? What does that mean? Christian teachers to whom Timothy is to give the commission of teaching or passing on the baton, number one, according to Paul, they must be trustworthy men. So you are trying to help the young person whom you are pouring your life to know the importance of trustworthiness. Number two, they must also possess knowledge and the power of communicating knowledge to others. You must help him to understand the importance of knowledge. You know, St. Paul is directing that no ordinary human being means of securing success must be neglected. You must use every means to ensure the message is passed to the people with less of it. You know, look at the mentees' other gifts, such as fitted them for the discharge of passing it on to the third generation, to hand down the gospel, or whatever the thing is being discussed, and impaired and saved to the other hands. Men able as well as willing, gifted as well as zealous. That's what you're talking about. If you want God to use you so that your values, biblical values, can reach the fourth generation. It is important that you are not only able, you are also willing. Because you need to sacrifice time to create time for this. Number two, you have gifted, but you are also zealous. Because it's not going to be easy. You know, 1 Timothy 4 is saying, in the presence of God and Christ Jesus, who will judge the living and the dead, and in view of his appearing and his kingdom, I give you this charge. Preach the word, be prepared in season and out of season, correct, rebuke, and encourage with great patience and careful instruction. In other words, this mentoring process will include proclamation, that's preaching. Let the young people hear. Number two, it will need to be done even when they are not happy with it. You know, prepared in season and out of season. Don't say I will do it when I'm old. It has to be a continuous, and I hope I've communicated that. It has to be continuous. From even when you are 20, you are a mentor, and you continue until you are in your 90s. Be prepared in season and out of season. And thirdly, in order to do it, you must correct. Correct means if you identify something that is that somebody doesn't know as well, help them to see how better it can be done. But sometimes they are deliberately doing the wrong thing. At that time, you rebuke them. And that's what Paul is encouraging this mentor, to rebuke. But at times, what they require out of you is encouragement. But to do that, you require patience and careful instruction. You know, what I hear Timothy being told is that help people not to turn away from the truth. They learn things in Sunday school. Now they are not in Sunday school anymore. You are mentoring one-on-one is going to help them to show them what they learned in Sunday school is something that should be continued even today. They will grow weary of the plain gospel of Christ is what the passage is saying. So you need to understand, even if originally they knew, don't give up on them. So that even at my age, keep talking to them. Even if they knew, never give up on anybody who has not yet died. They will be greedy or fables and take pleasure in them. They don't want to hear good teaching. They want fables and tales. For I'm already being poured, Paul says, where I have reached now, I'm being poured out like a drink offering. And the time for my departure is near. That's why he is taking the trouble to mentor Timothy. Because he knows he is going to go. He doesn't know when, but it's likely to be very soon. I have fought the good fight, so Paul says. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Is that true of you as a father, as a mentor? Can you say you have fought the good fight? If you haven't, there is time for repentance. And sharing with the young person who saw you do the wrong thing. Tell him it's true I did it, but it was the devil had taken advantage of me. I am wrong. Once you admit where you fail, you now gain the credibility to be able to mentor the young person. But not a lot of us fathers assume that the young people are not seeing. You know, you reach a level where you can say, I finished the race, I kept the faith. In other words, I've not been going backsliding for sliding. I have kept the faith. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness. Why should we be mentoring? Because whoever does it well and ensures the next generation can actually continue, there's a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award me on that day. And you know, it's not just for Paul, he says, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing. The final thing is, a mentor must always have heaven in mind. I know you may be mentoring somebody on a very mundane area thing, but always turn the mentoring to point people to a heaven where we are going. You know, if you have mentored somebody well, then they'll have confidence in the face of death. They will not backslide because of death. They will have a peaceful outlook backwards. When they look at their life in the past, they will be happy, have kept the faith. Paul thinks of it as a contest, as a race, as a stewardship. This process of passing the back can be seen as a contest. You know, this idea is the tension of a long struggle with opposing wrestlers who have tried to throw him but in vain. So you're in a contest, my dear mentor. You feel sometimes but please keep at it. It's a contest, but it's also a race. Paul is thinking that speaking of continuous advance in one direction, and more emphatically still, of effort that sets the lungs panting and strains every muscle to the utmost. In other words, you don't give up. In a race, you don't give up before the tip. And only death is our tip. But he's also thinking of a mentor as a steward. He has kept the faith. In other words, as a sacred deposit committed to him when he got saved, of which he has been good steward, and which is now ready to return to his Lord. There is much in these letters to Timothy about keeping treasure entrusted to him to care. And that's one of the things. Stewardship. I've written another book called A Leader as a Steward. That's one of the things you must help the young person to understand, that his gifts are actually a gift of God, and God, like the story of the talent, will have a day of reckoning where he must answer, what did he do with his talents in his 20s? What did he do with it in his 30s? Every decade, you have to account for it. Don't think you can waste your time when you are now 60, you start becoming a very committed Christian. God is going to hold you to account. And anyway, I want to share an example of this idea of that is not just at the level of individuals or churches. Even organizations know the value of succession. Let me give you the story of IBM. Gene Rometry was announced as the new CEO of IBM, marking a significant transition as IBM and celebrating the company's first female top executive. This transition showed an example of world-class succession management. It was predictable. IBM CEOs leave their jobs at the age of 60. So you can predict and show the result of years of developing planning. Ms. Romet is an IBM veteran. She joined the company in 1981 as a system engineer, worked her way up to managing the integration of PricewaterhouseCoopers, and most recently ran sales and marketing. Investors, customers, and IBM employees see this as a well-planned and safe transition, which of course gives customers confidence, and because of that confidence, they are able to continue. Unfortunately, most companies do not invest the time, energy, and money to build such a disciplined process of passing on the buck. IBM talent management process is very mature, integrated, and global. At the executive level, the company takes development planning and succession very seriously. In a research shows that only 19% of the large organizations surveyed have a business integrated strategy to identify and develop high potentials. Almost half the companies that were surveyed had an ad hoc or locally managed approach, or even no approach at all. HP, here is an iconic company, one of the pioneers of technology in the world, which has had a whole series of unplanned, I want to show you a different example, CEO changes. From Clare Florina to Mark Hard to Leona Podeka and now to Meg Whitman. In each case, the new CEO seemed radically different from the previous one, and it appeared that the board was unable to build success internally. While there are many good reasons that these transitions took place, this is a company that does not have a process for internal CEO succession, and the results have wreaked havoc on the company. At one time, HP stock was down by 32%. Over a few months, and much of this shift was due to uncertainty in leadership and strategy. What about Apple? Apple ex-CEO and founder Steve Jobs planned his succession for years and built a large library of instructional and multimedia materials to help continue his legacy. Tim Cook, his successor, was also groomed for many years. In this case, there were likely other candidates, but it was clear to the outside world for quite some time that Tim Cook was Jobs' successor. Now, I wanted to give you that just to say we actually do have examples of people that have kept the faith and help to pass on, even in the business world. So in your family, if you died today, would your children and wife end up totally confused? Because you have not found a process of preparing them. You are not proactive in your thinking. And you're not just talking about having a will. A will is a document. But if you never prepare the people, there will still be trouble, like you have seen many other things. So my suggestion as we go on with this discussion is make faith your legacy first. You yourself. One generation shall praise your works to another and shall declare your mighty works. Psalms 145 verse 4. One generation, your generation, shall praise your works so that the other generation shall follow. Do we have anything worth passing on to the next generation? I've already told you that habits are caught, not taught. The way we are living, is it worth anybody copying? To pass the baton of faith, you must first of all possess it to yourself. For a smooth handover, you need a firm grip on the baton of faith yourself, and then an international effort to place that baton onto the next generation's hands. So, my suggestion to you is become a spiritual father, become a spiritual mother. Isn't that what 1 Corinthians 4:15 is saying? In Christ, I became your father. Titus 2:4, older women must train the younger women. It means that the New Testament is emphasizing the idea of passing on the baton. And you need to ask yourself, is that what you are doing yourself? Are you a spiritual father? Of course, I have to be quick to be careful. The word father has been used. Some pastors want to be called father, but what they mean is that they replace your earthly father. No, you are a spiritual father. So you are only a father in helping me to know the Lord. Beyond that, you can't, and there's a real pity when you have somebody insisting he has control who you marry, how you marry. That's how you begin cult. And that's a very important thing to understand. So even as we talk about mentoring, do not become a cultic leader. Families also need fathers to carry the flame of faith and pass the baton. If you're a Christian man, ask yourself, am I willing to become a spiritual father to even those not my biological children? The current youth fellowship is full of sons of single mothers. How will the sons of single mothers understand what it is to be a man? What is the men's fellowship doing to ensure that they mentor these children of single mothers? In the form of actors and professional athletes, but following the example of anyone who does not follow God will only end up in disappointment. And I think I already mentioned that. Don't just ask anybody to mentor you. He must be somebody who has the faith. Proverbs 13:22 says, and is reminding us, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. In other words, by the time you are grandfather, your grandchildren will benefit from you. Far too often we think of inheritance only in terms of the wealth we leave behind when we die. Have you heard the statement that you should be more worried about what you leave in your children than what you leave for them? Because if you leave something for them and nothing in them, within 5 years, there will be nothing remaining of all the properties you left them. But if you leave something in them, values, even if you leave them nothing, you die and there is nothing for them to inherit, they know how to make money themselves. So, in your effort to mentor people, it should be more in terms of values. And I'm not suggesting you don't help them in making money, but values is what matters. Christians need to take a long-term view concerning the future generations. We need to enable our children to take God's vision to a higher level than we were able to accomplish in our lifetime. The church should move faster when they take over than when we ourselves were in it. It'll be as simple as spend time, have coffee or breakfast with somebody. Tell the young man, I'll buy you coffee. I do that quite a lot. In fact, I do that so often that the other day, I was in a Java, And the manager said, today you'll not pay for it, because that means that week I had bought coffee for young people, 5 different ones. And she can see I'm the one paying. The manager can see that. So she ended up paying the bill. And you can, when I was working for Shell, I used to buy them lunch. When I retired, I downgraded it to coffee. But I still budget money for young people to spend time. And I've not found many young people who don't want to have coffee with me. And it's during the coffee we get to know each other. They feel free now. Even after that, they now call me, ask me questions. Explain that, please try to meet regularly, weekly or monthly. Explain that your purpose is to encourage growth in Christ and to be a sounding board. What's a sounding board? Tell them whatever idea you have, I'll always be available. Remember, a mentor does not instruct. A mentor advises. I'm sure some of you have heard me say, the Bible never requires an adult to obey his father. It's not in the Bible. You go to Ephesians, says, children, obey your parents, obey your father. Nowhere is an adult expected to obey the parents. You are 2 adults. So the father instructs children, but advises adults. What that means is your son does not have to do what you are telling him. But it's your responsibility to ensure you have told him. But you are not the only source of information. He will take what the father has said, he will talk to the pastor, he will talk to somebody else, make a decision. I normally give 3 reasons why, whenever I'm mentoring people, I told them I will not instruct you. Anytime we discuss, remember it's advice, and you take a decision. Even if it doesn't agree with me, our friendship continues. For 3 reasons. Number 1, I'm older than you. Chances are I'll die earlier. Now, the advice I've given you will be with you longer. So when I'm dead, you will be feeling I did this because of Nganga. But Nganga is in heaven. So Nganga would be very unfair to make you make a decision on a matter you will not suffer. Now, it's very important. You're dead. Number 2, which is important, is that you have source of information that is not that's not me. So why should I expect you to just have me only as the one advising? I remember my advice is don't have one mentor, have several mentors. So any mentor should not be instructional. I told you anybody instructional has chaotic tendencies. He should give you advice, and if he has taught you how to make decisions and has helped you in it, he knows you'll make a good decision, even if not the way you. So the first one, I'll die earlier, so I'll leave you in trouble. Number two, I'm arguing that I'm arguing that you have several advisors. Number 3, which is very, very important, I don't have enough information. We older people know history, but the advice is for future, not for history. So that although when I'm giving you advice, I'm relying on my experience, and it's good advice. But then circumstances change. I'm sure anybody who has been alive for 20, 30 years know that the other day we didn't have mobiles. Now we have mobiles. There are things that have changed so much that my experience and the young person's experience on that particular issue, the young person has as much experience as me, may even understand it better. So those are 3 reasons why it's wrong for you to instruct your mentee. Give him advice. And I know the difference between advice and instruction. When I was a manager in Shell, I gave instructions. If you didn't obey my instructions, at your own peril, you failed to follow my instructions at your own peril. But then I left and I registered a consultant firm. I'm a management consultant. And I go and advise an organization. I am paid. After that, I wondered, did they do what I told them? Many of them feel offended if I start following them. I paid. I thought we paid you. Because advice is for the board of that organization to consider. And they might do what I told them or not even do it. But they paid me. That's what I understood the meaning of being a consultant, as an advisor. Now, that's what you are as a mentor. You are not an instructor. So, as a mentor, if you want to pass on the buck, you can do it as a mentor, a friend. But you will do it as a coach. The difference between a mentor is a coach does not have to be your friend. He can, because he is experienced in that area, he helps you to understand the process. He's a coach. Many football coaches are not as good in football as the players themselves, but they understand the process and help a player to become very good. But you cannot be a sponsor. A sponsor means I'm helping you in an area, and you can sponsor in terms of taking a risk. Say, this young man is my friend. Please help him. You are a sponsor. If something goes wrong, your name is at stake, and you are willing to take a risk. But it can also be monetary. But the real way of passing the back to the next generation, beyond mentoring, coaching, and sponsoring, is you being an example that others can follow. And I think that will be something that's very important. So, as we go towards finishing, we are talking about succession planning. Thinking about when you are out of the stage, how will the world look like? Will God not hold you responsible for not having prepared the next generation? Human beings are prone to accidents and even death without notice. Others, however, get dissatisfied with the organization's vision and can express it as most inappropriate time and just disappear out of the organization. Such organizations have brought many organizations down. Continuity, therefore, requires good succession planning. Even for your business as a family, you need good succession planning. You know, the succession planning is the process of identifying, then developing people internally in that organization, in that family, with the potential to fill the business leadership positions in that family or in that company. It increases the availability of experienced and capable employees that are prepared to assume these roles as they become available. You know, the 4 tasks required of a senior manager in order to find subordinates that can pass on is training them. So, although the trainee may not be aware, he's being given exposure here and there as a way of preparing him, also motivating him, also assigning him responsibilities so that he can gain experience. All that are things we can talk. You know, when you plan the process of passing on the back, empowering the people who come after you, you build the talent from within your organization, from within your family, from within your church. You strengthen the bench, you reduce employees turnover, you attract people to whom the organization can be entrusted, and you increase employee retention, or your young people wanting to do what you are doing. You know, like training for a re-release, systematic and developing leader means we are intentional about providing the experience. In other words, we need to be preparing them. Just as a track coach chooses the relay team lineup, succession planning ensures that leadership puts the right people on the right places at the right time. Knowing what will be encountered on the track ahead will help us decide which runners should be where at what time. So, if you are preparing for the next generation, identify key roles for succession or replacement planning. Define the competencies and motivational profile required of the people who come in the future. Assess people against the criteria with a future orientation in mind. Identify pools of talent that will potentially fill and perform the higher key roles in the future. Then, having done that, you now develop these successors. This is what they call competence gap analysis. Look at a young person. Look at what his future role is and identify the critical gap that he needs. Competence gap. Then look for how can you close the gap between the guy you like to leave the job to and where he is now. So come up with the gap closure initiatives, things you can do to close the gap. And then have a closure plan. You do this and do this and do that. And the church needs to do the same. If you want these young people to be able to become the future leaders of the church, I think it's important to ask what is missing, what are the gaps, what can we do to prepare. Then have a properly written plan. We'll do this we will do this as I was preparing the people for the future. And we could go on. Unfortunately, I have taken a little longer than I wanted. I've taken 50 minutes. But I hope that provokes you so that we can have a rich question time. Let's have somebody take over from here.